Oh boy, we're live. What's up, everyone? Aaron Negler here, Cheesehead TV, coming to you live on Wednesday afternoon. A little bit late today. Apologize for the late arrival, but a lot of work being done here at the old LiveX studios on a Wednesday afternoon. And hey, there ain't a whole lot to talk about as far as pure Packers news. So I'm getting ready for the XFL, baby. That's right. Lifelong New York, whatever they're called, Guardians fan here. And I'm ready. Saturday is the big unveiling of the new XFL. And I got to tell you, I know it's going to be dismissed and joked about and blah, 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 but I'm pretty excited to see how the league does. Obviously, the AAF has come and gone, and that was a bit of a disaster, but I like the vibe around the XFL, and I like a lot of what they're kind of trying to implement as far as not trying to undercut the NFL, but just smart things they've done, like instituting a bottom pool of players that are available for teams that are specific to the XFL that any team can draw on if they have injury issues, churn the bottom of the roster, etc. Little things like that I think are really smart. So I'm excited for the XFL to kick off. I won't be watching it religiously. I have a life. I have a family. I got things to do, but yeah, I'm interested to see how it does. Hello to everybody in the chat. Good evening. What up, William? Fired up for the XFL. Tyler? Man, you got to be. It's football, right? I mean, you got that feeling after the Super Bowl of, oh, no, the long off season, but wait, here's the XFL. I mean, I'll take it. I can't believe my San Francisco Demons weren't brought back. Well, yeah, that's part of the issue, you know, when you're a fledgling upstart for the second time. Yeah, if something wasn't successful the first time around, we'll see how they do number two. Andrew, actually, chat. What's up, Mags? Check out David Woodward from Utah State. Sounds like a Packers linebacker. When drafted, we all say, who? I'll definitely take a look. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Shelly. How are you? I have a hunch that EQ is going to do great things next year. I mean, he certainly could. I really liked him his rookie year. Obviously, that high ankle sprain was problematic this year. I don't think you can count on him. The number of times you've had a guy come back from an injury and never look the same. You can definitely point to Geronimo Allison as the latest example, but he's still very young, probably, you know, in the life of an NFL player, still very raw, and certainly will be interested to see him in this new system, especially another year in for Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback. Yeah, I'm excited for what EQ could bring. There's a lot of upside there, but I don't think you can count on him going into 2020. Go Battlehawks. There you go. Oh, Matt pulling out the Howard Jones lyrics. Wow, that's old school right there. Any word on the new receivers coach? Just that it's Jerry Gray and that he was with the Vikings during Mike Zimmer's entire tenure up until his contract expiring just a couple weeks ago. And he's been a defensive coordinator twice in the league. And now he's going to be coaching the defensive backs in Green Bay. And I'm excited to see not just, you know, obviously you want to see improvement across the board in the secondary, but just any kind of new ideas he can bring on the defensive side, I think will be interesting, and we'll see how welcome they are. I mean, that's definitely a storyline to watch in 2020. Don Martel Gilbert, thanks for the super chat. D'Angelo Yancey and Winston Moss both in the XFL. You got that right. You know, Aaron Ripkowski as well, I believe. So there are a number of ex-Packers that you'll be seeing across your television starting this weekend. Jack, thanks for the super chat. I am Spartacus. R.I.P. to the great Kirk Douglas. The news breaking about an hour ago, I think. As I'm chatting with you guys, obviously a legendary actor, and that was one of his legendary roles. Rest in peace to a great. I was referencing the post-NFC Championship Game 5. Yeah, I think no one is to blame. I think a lot of people were to blame in that instance, but the lyrics are certainly apt. I love that there's a Battlehawks reference. That's hilarious. Any football is good football. Tyler, I'm with you there. Ton of ex-Packers in the XFL. I was looking at the rosters the other day. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not surprising that there are a number of connections there. Look, you look at the NFL, and it's obviously the pinnacle, and you want to reach it. But there are a ton of football leagues that you never hear about. You never even kind of notice coverage of. Matt LaFleur coached in one for a while. There are true football lifers who absolutely love the game and are determined to make it their life, who, between the land of college football and the NFL, Arena Football League, the AAF, the XFL, etc., are just the latest kind of iterations of, there are lots and lots of ways that people try and stay in the game of football. I love anything that illuminates the greatness of the game, because I do think football is a great game, despite the NFL's best attempts at destroying it. Jack, thanks for the super chat. Fun fact, Kirk Douglas was at Super Bowl I. He was indeed, and he was a big football fan. There's no doubt about that. To Martello, thanks for the super chat. Do you think NFL team would try to steal players? There is actually a rule of when they can sign XFL players. I literally just looked at the offseason schedule yesterday morning. I can't remember the exact date, but there is a rule in place already. Certainly probably agreed upon between the XFL and the NFL. I do believe the XFL's hope is that they become a bit of a farm system, a bit of a developmental league. They will remember the first time they launched, it was very much about McMahon trying to offer an alternative, trying to take on the NFL. I think this time he's much more realistic. I think he's trying to be a complement, and they are trying to be a complement to the NFL. And I do believe the end game for them is to try to be a developmental league. And Lord knows the NFL could use one. I know the owners shut down NFL Europe because they were losing money hand over fist. But NFL Europe was a good thing for the league. I think the XFL could be a good thing for the league. And I think that's why they're not adversarial, and they do have kind of a relationship already. But yeah, there is a very specific date when NFL teams can start signing possible XFL players. Not to get off topic, but King, you're talking football, always on topic, no matter the team or the players. I don't care. It's fine. And hell, people ask me Star Wars questions all the time. So, whatever, man. It's all chat, Not to get off topic, but only 5 people showed up for when the 49ers plane landed. Well, okay, but don't get all high and mighty. I think 12 people showed up when the Packers landed after the loss in the NFC Championship game. So, it ain't that many more. It's the middle of the night, man. Let people chill. It's fine. I was listening to Oliver Luck talk to Big Cat, and he was saying that the goal is to get players into the NFL. See, there you go. Like I said, I do think they're being much smarter about it this time around. Because taking on the NFL is just completely unrealistic. But being a bit of a pipeline for the NFL, I think that's really smart. And they can start once they they just got to get, if they can get one season under their belt and get just a couple guys into the NFL that nobody's heard of publicly, the general public hasn't heard of, I think they've got a really good shot, because then they can start selling themselves as tomorrow's NFL players today. And they don't even have to say stars, although they'll probably go that route marketing-wise. But you can say, tomorrow's the NFL's, of tomorrow today, whatever. But they got to get this first season under the belt. And then I do think you'll start seeing that kind of stuff. Chitsu Nomiel. Thanks for the super chat. Stumbling on you and Banky has been one of the best things to happen to me. Cheesehead TV is so great. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. That's really kind of you, not only to put up the chat, but to say such nice things about us. Thank you so much. Sorry, guys. Any new movies you're excited to see? See, people talk about all that. It's the off season. We can talk about whatever, and there's no real Packers news to talk about. New movies I'm excited to see. You know what? This is off. This is not something I would normally want to go see, but I want to see Call of the Wild now because I found out that Michael Green wrote the script. And I obviously it has Harrison Ford, and I love Harrison Ford, but it looks like a cheesy, schlocky, whatever. Disney putting it out in February, like it's a total throwaway. But Michael Green wrote the script, and he is a phenomenal writer and a great screenwriter. So now I'm kind of excited to see it. I know, weird, but that's me. Let's see. You should look into Zach Moss from Utah. He's a running back guy. We'll take a look, Aaron. Knives Out, good movie. Bud, Knives Out is a perfect film. It is absolute perfection. I loved that movie. I flipping loved that movie. And hey, the Academy Awards are Sunday night, so we can talk about movies. Come on, it's topical, right? Ahsoka Tano deserves a Disney Plus show. Now you're talking. Although, I got a bad feeling about this last season of Clone Wars that's dropping in a few weeks. Ahsoka is prominently featured in the marketing. Makes me think maybe this is where we learn how she ends. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because she's never mentioned past the Clone Wars in canon. So I tend to think, Anakin never mentions her again. I got a bad feeling about it. Do you think we'll have some PFF arrogance for the XFL? I think PFF is all over XFL. I saw Sam Monson chatting about it, and I'll be talking to those guys in Indy. I can't wait to see Sam and talk to him about his boys there at PFF. Got to get a handle on one or two of them. But I love those guys. I think they do great work. Sometimes the public-facing stuff is a little grating, but yeah, I have nothing but respect for the stuff they do. By the way, you should do your own mock draft first round. You can use the Draft Network on Google. I love Draft Network. Those guys do great stuff, and I use their mock draft simulator probably 1,000 times in the off season last season. I'll do one eventually as we get closer to the draft. Clearly, there are lots of people who cover the draft, who know about the draft, who know about college football. They're immersed in it in a way I'll never be. And I very much, kind of step aside for them this part of the season. I'm going to have my opinions. I'm going to look at team needs. I'm going to look at players that I like on tape, etc. But ultimately, I know there are people who are much more well-versed, and that's why I talk to them. For instance, next Monday, I'm recording the next Naglers Never Write with Justice Mosqueda. Good old pal of mine, a friend of show. Justice and I will be talking about the draft, free agency, the Packers, NFL, all of it. And that'll be available on our Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. And if you haven't joined yet, like I said, that's the kind of stuff you can get exclusive access to. Last week, I talked to Rob Domofsky. Next week, I'm talking to Justice. TJ Lang and I have been going back and forth about him being on the podcast, but he is the world's worst responder. I'll ask him, hey, can you come on tomorrow? And he'll respond 3 days later, oh, sorry, man. So tweet TJ Lang and tell him to come on Naglers Never Write. That's all I'm saying. Because Lord knows I'm sick of the back and forth for a year now. I just taught my 2-year-old to say Bears still suck. Tommy, you're carrying the G. You know who else carries the G? Stephen Tate. Steve the owner. This guy, he carries the G, kids. He knows what's up. Hey, Nags, go St. Louis Battlehawks. Lifetime fan here. Gabriel, that's what I'm talking about. There you go. Hit like, everyone. Bud, that is a phenomenal idea. Everybody, you should all hit like. Hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV, devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. I try to make it to Indy every year. I have met Goody the last 2 years. It's really fun, but for financial reasons, I don't think I'll be able to make it this year. Hope you have fun talking Star Wars. For the combine, of course. Yes, of course, Nathan. I'll be there in, I think it's 18 days. I fly out that Monday. I believe the coaches are talking on Tuesday this year. It's that final week of February. And then, of course, for the first time ever, the workouts are in the evening for primetime television. Yawn. Can't believe people watch that stuff on TV. But I know it's a huge draw. They let fans in now. It's a whole big circus. It's only a matter of time before it ends up in LA. I know they extended the deal with Indianapolis for 2 more years, but it's only a matter of time. That new stadium they've built for the Rams and Chargers, that is a whole kind of convention center now that will host the combine sooner rather than later. Let's go Guardians. There you go. Are you guys headed to Vegas? Matt, we are not. We'll be producing a show for the draft out of our studio here in New York. I do believe we'll have some remotes from Green Bay. Still working some of that out, but we will be streaming during the draft, the first round of the draft. I'm not so sure about the second day. We may do some kind of Google Hangout with people. I'm not quite sure. And then day 3, I'm out. I'm out on day 3 as far as content goes. We'll produce stuff for the website and things like that, but we won't be doing any streaming. But that said, be on the lookout for all those plans. And speaking of the draft, make sure, I think we'll launch the pre-orders for the draft guide, the Cheesehead TV draft guide. I believe it's the 9th year we've done it, 10th year. We've been doing it a long time now. It's an exclusive draft guide. You see across the internet tons of draft guides, right? Every draft guru has their particular draft guide, and they're all very hardworking people, and they all do great work. But the Cheesehead TV draft guide is the only draft guide out there that is particular to the Green Bay Packers. Their needs, their scheme fits, who we think might work better than some other guys because of the scheme pet and runs, or what Matt LaFleur has shown, or how Aaron Rodgers likes wide receivers to run routes, etc. All of that is considered when we're putting it together. So when you see that, make sure that you either pre-order it or become a patron, because I do believe the draft guide will be linked to Patreon this year somehow. So if you want to support what we do, we want to support the draft guide, want to support Packers content 365, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Aaron Nagler has no life because he loves you guys. Please consider patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. Are you a fan of any NBA team? I mean, obviously I love watching the Bucks do well. It's been great since Giannis came on board. It's been great seeing their resurgence, but I don't get invested in it. I'm happy when they win, but if they lose, it means nothing to me. I tell you what killed my fandom for the NBA has been the multiple decades of kind of futility here in New York from the Knicks. When I was a younger man, I came to New York and the Knicks were in the playoffs. And I got to tell you, there is nothing like New York City when the Knicks are doing well. The whole city just has a different vibe. It's just incredible. Every bodega you go into, every subway platform you're on, anywhere you go in the city, it's just electric. You just feel it. I think part of it is because there's a series, so the playoffs stretch throughout a week. It's just amazing, the energy. You feel it. That hasn't happened in decades, man. The closest we've gotten to that in New York has been Linsanity, and that lasted like 3 days. I'll never forget, and this is true, when I was at the Combine, the year Linsanity happened, because it happened this time of year, I was in a cab on my way from the airport to my hotel. The cabbie was listening to the BBC News, which is worldwide, obviously. The lead story over something that was happening in Taiwan was Linsanity. That's how big it was. That's how amazing it was. And that's the closest the Knicks have gotten to like capturing that electric feeling. But, I don't think they're ever going to get that again unless Dolan drops it dead. Odell Beckham Jr., Matt, I wouldn't dismiss it. As I said on Twitter earlier today, and people, they have their feelings about OBJ, and I get it. But look, I'm not sitting here telling you, oh, they're definitely going to do it, or they must do it, or they're crazy if they don't do it. None of that. But there's a new general manager in Cleveland. And I know the owner has come out and said, oh, OBJ is going to be very productive for us for a long time. But he also said Freddie Kitchens was going to coach them for a long time. The owner's words publicly especially don't mean anything. All I'm saying is that OBJ is a very special talent. He's a blue chip player. They do not become available very often. Much like Ted Thompson going after Randy Moss, though he didn't close the deal. Much like Brian Gutekunst going after Khalil Mack, though he didn't close the deal. I got to think if OBJ does become available, which certainly you can't dismiss the idea with a new GM in town. If that GM comes in and determines that it's worth more to him to move that asset and get something back rather than keep him around, it's a possibility. That's all I'm saying. Gutekunst should and probably will, we're going to be in every conversation, he'll make that call. So, do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I think it's a long shot? Yes. But it's not crazy by any stretch of the imagination. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. Paul, I hear you, man. Getting OBJ would be insane, maybe in a good way. It'd be insane. I'd be very interested if they went that route. What they would give up. Because they would give up, you have to think, at least the first round pick at number 30, probably another pick, and maybe even a player. And then you got to pay the guy. And then you got to fill all your other holes. So that's why I say it's a bit of a long shot, but not crazy. And then you start thinking about the idea of Devontae Adams on one side, OBJ on the other, Aaron Jones in the backfield. Yahtzee. Will Curtis Bolton be in the mix at inside backer next year? I very much doubt it. Now, you never know. Maybe he takes this unexpected jump and maybe absolutely starts turning heads, but yeah, I would very much doubt it. Do you think the Bears will be better next year? Steven, I do, actually. It hurts me to say it, but I do. I think a lot will depend on how they go about mitigating Mitch Trubisky. I don't think he's as terrible as the internet likes to make him out to be. Yes, he's not a great quarterback. There's no question there. He's not even a top tier quarterback, but they can win with him if they improve a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, the turnovers really fell back down to earth, but that was expected from 2018 to 2019. I do think another year with Pagano at DC will help them coalesce a little bit. They got decisions to make on the personnel side, just like everybody else. But yeah, I do think they won't be as bad as they were this year, and they'll be probably not as good as they were 2 years ago, but somewhere in the middle. That's just my guess. I'll take one or two more here, guys. Sign Greg Olsen, not OBJ. John. No. Sign the 800-year-old tight end over the game changer at wide receiver? No. Greg Olsen's ready to hit the retirement home. And I know he's still got something in the tank. I get it. But no, no more old at the end of the road tight ends, people. No more of that. Evan, but they'll still suck. Of course they will. They're the Bears. Hey, look, that's Corey Banky. Carrying the G. All right, buddy. I'm going to have to jump. I can't thank you guys enough. 160 of you hanging out here on a Wednesday afternoon in the off season. You guys are the best. Please, as I said before, hit like, hit subscribe. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. And if you like to support everything that we do, everything from these chats, the videos, the social, the content on the site, everything, please consider giving us $5 a month on the Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. My chat with Rob Domofsky is up already. I'll be chatting with Justice on Monday. And hey, like I said, tweet TJ Lang and tell him to pick a day. That's all. You just got to pick a day, and we'll make it work. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good night.